What is going on, Power to the Ground, folks? Welcome to the Power to the Ground Media Network review show for round 13, Atlanta 1 Supercross for 2021. Welcome to the show. Do us a favor. Let us know kind of where you're watching from, what platform. We do stream to a couple different ones. I think it's YouTube and Facebook. And while you're doing that, please reach over, like, comment, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you are on. We will greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Whenever you get done with the show tonight, do us all a favor. Jump over to power2theground.com and check it out. Jesse has been working pretty tirelessly. I saw that he put up a new video. I think, if I remember right, going through all the videos that I was watching today on the race, I think that's Malcolm Stewart's GoPro helmet cam from the Heat. I think is the one that he put up this week. It's captivating. So especially when it's that big on the screen, it'll get you stuck just sitting there watching it.
Get you primed.
Oh yeah, get you all ready to go. And then want to give a big shout out to Sean over at Bro Taco Hot Sauce, brotacofoods.com. Don't forget to use code PTTG for 20% off your order. He has a great lineup. He has the avocado serrano, the pineapple habanero, yep, and the brap sauce with the PTTG logo. I think I'm a little bit far away from my camera for you to actually read the labels, but the brap sauce is my go-to on everything. I absolutely love it. We also have SUNSTAR sprockets and chains. You can find them at sunstar-breaking.com. Do me a favor, shoot an email over to the support guys. It is support@sunstar-breaking.com. Let them know that PTTG sent you. PTTG. I feel like I say too many T's every time I go over the acronym, man. Let them know PTTG sent you, either Tiller or Sean or myself or Jesse or Steve or anybody. It doesn't matter. Let them know. They will hook you up with 30% off, which comes in pretty handy, especially on a consumable part like sprockets and chains. Don't forget, we do pick'ems every race. We got some coming up here pretty quick. Next race is tomorrow. I'm not used to doing it on a Monday. So my timeline is a little screwed up, folks. I'm sorry. This is our first Monday show. We are going to try to move the review show to a Monday, so people like me don't forget everything that happened on the weekend race. Other than that, Tiller, how you been, man?
Been pretty good. It was a crazy weekend. Turning it around real fast, but you had a pretty interesting weekend yourself.
That I did. I decided to basically fall out of the air 185 pounds from a couple feet up and land right directly on the top of my four-wheeler. Broke my wrist, scrambled my egg a little bit. Chest hurts, back hurts. I think the quad is all right. I don't know. I don't remember a lot about it. It was a hard wreck. So it's trying to type with no fingers on one hand. So if you see me doing a little dance across the keyboard, that's me trying to keep up with you guys with one hand. We're gonna give it the old go. I don't know. The one thing that I do want to say is thanks to Bell Helmets and the O'Neill chest protector that I showed off on show and tell last week, man.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
His job.
That thing, yeah, that thing definitely helped. That and the flex bar having such a large bar pad, I think that really helped kind of displace a lot of my weight going straight down on the top of the handlebars. Could have been a lot worse, man. I got lucky.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know if anybody that was at the track that helped me out listens to this show, but if you do, I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for being patient with me while I was trying to figure out where I was at and what I was doing. So it's enough of that, though. Nobody wants to see my little gimpy hand. I just need a bowl of mashed potatoes. But it's It was an interesting race. So I was on the track at the same time that the Supercross race was going on. So I've been cramming all day trying to catch up with it. Sunday, I was hung out on the couch a little bit, and I didn't get around to rewatching the race. I was just trying to get my bearings back. So I went back and I watched most of it today. Luckily, not watching it live, I can fast forward through a lot of the track prep time, which takes it from like 3 hours down to maybe an hour for the whole show.
Yeah.
But it's seemed like a really fun track, though. I was definitely digging the track. I like the open air, the super speedway stuff. I think is so far is my favorite Supercross tracks.
I really dig this one in the fact that they can just get so many different things in one track, effectively one lap, right?
Oh yeah,
Instead of having to be like, because I feel like that's part of the track design too, is kind of we want to do all these things, but what really fits together, you want to have different things in the track, but here you can have, 2 whoop sections and not feel like it's taking up the whole track, 2 decent whoop sections too, not like, oh, we did 2 little ones. And yeah, so I think the Speedway, especially this one, even supposedly being bigger than Daytona, just so many different things all in one track and just covered all.
Oh yeah, it was entertaining to watch, and I think Dirtworks did a great job of sealing the track because they knew the rain was coming, and I think that really added into it, especially when they got to run some bikes on it and really run the track in. I think it came out excellent. By the time the mains came around, the track looked prime. Like it looked pristine. Usually you see it just completely destroyed by then, and the heats are when it's nice.
Yeah.
This time it was a little backwards. The heats were disgusting, and the mains looked amazing. So
yeah, you could tell they really there's something like this clearly shows that they know what they're doing. And I don't know the exact details of it, but I imagine there was probably a lot of kind of like, hey, we know the rain's coming. We just put dirt out here this week. Maybe we don't need to water it as much on Friday, so that when the rain does come, it's there to soak up. Because that's another part of it is this dirt's so very different than a lot of the other dirt that they ride on.
yeah,
So I'm sure there was a lot of it too, and that played into why some of those first races were crazier. It's got that real heavy clay base that made for a lot of interesting stuff. Even watching some of it right now, I'm looking at. I'd kind of forgotten how well those sand rollers held up so well throughout the day, considering how, I guess when the sand gets wet like that, it's going to hold up a little bit better maybe. But it could have been a lot worse.
yeah, it was. That's the bad part about that clay is you get just a little moisture. That top layer gets moisture and the bottom doesn't. That stuff turns into almost like a mirror, and that's kind of what I was battling with this weekend was the same thing. It was clay that got just a little wet and it turned into ice. And a lot of it, like, I think I was hanging off the side of my quad, like full pin, just sideways, trying to play with the throttle to get it to steer, know, and I definitely felt for them in the heats because it looked like a lot of those guys were doing the same things, and the guys that could hook up and make the jumps flew past people. Like it wasn't even like Coop was a prime example of that.
Yeah, it made a big difference, and that's the thing too. I'm still amazed that the slickness of the base didn't come into play as much in the main events with the amount of rain they got there and how the track looked in the first part of the day. They were able to keep clearing the top, move stuff around, and play with the heat. And I still remember when I was sitting there watching the race and you could see the sun actually came out. I got audibly excited that the sun was there. I was like, it's going to get even better.
Oh, yeah. And it had to be hot and muggy, too, after the rain down south. I know it was hot and muggy up here, so I can't imagine what it was like down there where it was probably even warmer.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes for long days all by itself. It's just dealing with that humidity. Every breath you take is like, I don't know, somebody's spraying a mister in your mouth. It's just so wet and heavy. But, yeah, I mean, do you want to jump into the 250 main results real quick?
The
only thing that I really found in the heats was Cooper jumping that pretty much made him run away, and then McAdoo acting like the tunnel jump was a place and kind of sliding off the side. You know?
Oh man, that was a pucker moment when that
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
Just like it looked like he was going to save it in the weirdest way, and then you were kind of hoping that he was going to clear it while he was sideways, and then when he caught the little bit, man, it could have been so much worse.
That
It
was
could,
that was an A+ on innovation during a wreck. You know.
yeah,
See,
he
we got
definitely did.
in the mains though, we had old Nate Thrasher coming in first place, Cooper coming in second place, McAdoo coming in third, Hammaker coming in fourth, and Kyle Peters coming in fifth. Which there's a couple. Yeah, there's at least two names that stick out in that list right there that I'm glad to see up there. Kyle Peters puts in a bunch of work. You know, he's off of a smaller team, Phoenix Racing Honda. And then you have Nate Thrasher, who came from B class, racing Lorettas and Mini O's and stuff like that, straight up to this is the first year he's ever raced on like big boy Supercross tracks, you know, and he definitely came in clutch. It's hard to say though. Cooper looked fast, but according to him in the post-race press conference, he was he was really beat up by the main. He said he could feel every like bump and bruise on his body from the wipeout in the heat.
Yeah.
So, and I can imagine that wasn't necessarily a nice, easy roll down the tunnel jump type of wreck. You know, I mean, he really wiped out pretty good. So just to see him back up there and able to finish out the whole main, I think is quite a testament to his endurance, I guess you would call it.
And just drive, you know, I think, I mean, obviously he's in a championship setup, so he's not going to pull I don't know, like a Bloss and just be like, I'm going to pull off, you know?
Yeah.
He's not that, but it kind of also makes you wonder too, you know, if he's in that much pain and can ride through because he knows he's in the championship. Yeah, that's pretty good because, you know, there's guys out there that would just pull off just because.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, when I was listening to the post-race press conference, it was also Thrasher was super humble. Like he really took that win very well. You know, I mean, we do have some characters in the 250, both East and West, that I wouldn't call them humble, you know, but Thrasher was definitely, I mean, he was a professional, you know. It was really nice to see. And it was nice to see that he said he got pretty much all his, like, late in the race when you're winning, the only thing that goes through your mind is hit your marks, don't wreck, don't screw it up. You know, like I just got a one lap at a time, one turn at a time, one section. And he said that looking to guys like Justin Cooper and Will Hahn and those guys really drove the inspiration into him when he needed it the most, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so I think I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool shout out, you know, for Coop while they're all sitting there kind of round tabling. And then yeah,
it's pretty, I mean, yeah, so like his podium, obviously you get a guy like him, you know, he's rocking, he's had 11th, 20th, 10th, 9, all of a sudden the first. You're not expecting to give a podium interview that day, you know, regardless of whatever he said about, I was feeling it, you know, I thought I could get on the podium kind of thing. And we're all like, you know, maybe not. You know, you get up there on the podium, that kind of shows you just got to come up with it on the spot. You're either just going to freeze and say nothing, or you're going to have, you know, kind of real humble moment, or if you're lucky, an AP moment. But then also too, you know, we'll get into it, but AP showed potentially later in the night that's kind of one of those situations where it can really make or break, especially on a track like that, where you really got to focus on hitting your marks while you're out there leading. Because you know, a guy like him, after the season he's had so far, you're getting out there halfway through the race, you're realizing, oh crap, I actually could win this.
Oh yeah.
You got to stay focused on hitting your marks. Don't worry about, oh crap, I could win this. Stay focused on, I know what I'm doing. What I'm doing got me here. I need to keep doing this.
Yeah, and it's I mean, Thrasher and AP also respectively are no strangers to winning on various levels,
Mm-hmm.
so but that's a lot of weight, especially for Thrasher's first win. Now it's out of the way. Now you can stop worrying about that. You can just show up, do your work, you know, just focus on basically every lap,
Mm-hmm.
not the race as a whole. Break it down into small laps, um, just focus on that.
Yeah,
So,
his key thing now is he knows he's like, nope, I clearly can do this. It's there. I have the
oh yeah.
ability. My bike setup's not totally far off.
And he
You
looked
know.
good while he was doing it too. I think that's important, especially in kind of a sloppy-ish race conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't classify this race as a mutter, but I
Oh
wouldn't
no, definitely not a mutter.
classify it as like a clean, typical Supercross. Maybe like a early summer or early spring, fall moto type conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where there is quite a bit of moisture. But I don't think I can call it a motor like some other people are doing.
No, you can't call him a mutter. I'm looking at Cameron McAdoo on the podium right now. He went down in the race,
Yeah,
in the mud, and his pants are dirty.
yeah.
Like
Well, he kind of like baseball slid on the top of his bike though too.
well, yeah, but I mean, he went down, he hit the ground, so like
Yeah,
on top of A riding in it, and then B
yeah,
touching the ground directly, he's not covered in mud.
yeah. That's very true. That is very true. And then it's what other notes did I have? Oh, speaking of McAdoo, he said the reason he didn't do as good as what he thought he could do is he just didn't feel like himself on that track. Like it was a big, long, drawn out track with lots of different sections. Um, he said
So
he wasn't feeling like it was Supercross or something
yeah,
like that. I can't
I mean,
totally recall quote for quote, but
I could see that, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about and carry as a theme into considering the results and all of that tonight. Is that when was the last time? No press day, no practice, one qualifying session, straight into the longest track they've got to memorize.
yeah,
So it's not just that it's the longest track and we're testing our endurance. It's not like, Redbud where you got the track memorized. Maybe they throw in a one or new thing. This is a track that's 2 times as long as the past 3 tracks you've raced at. You've got to memorize all of it. Yeah, you can sit there and look at a camera, but the conditions
yeah,
are literally changing every second over the course of the day. I could totally feel just even thinking about riding, and you probably know it too. You're out there. Sometimes something happens in a place you're uncomfortable with. Just that tense feeling you get when you're riding. Obviously, these are
yeah.
professionals, and
You break a wrist, bro.
yeah,
That's what
and
happens.
yeah, and so you're just out there riding tense, and you're feeling it. And the second you start to get that doubt in your head, and you're just not feeling the conditions,
Oh
I
yeah,
could totally see that being the case, especially for some of these younger guys. Yeah, they've ridden years more than I have,
oh
but
yeah.
I don't think it's that far of a stretch for them to
And
just feel.
it's weird for me because I'm like I hear it, and for what I race, there is no practice, there is no qualifying. You might get to, like, if you're lucky, you get to ride your bike or walk a couple
Mhm.
sections of the track, but for the most part, I mean, you're ripping through the woods blind on 5, 6, 7, 8 mile tracks. Like you're not gonna memorize it all. You just kind of hold on and do your best. So like it messes with me to hear that kind of stuff, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that's like a typical straightaway for what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So it is weird when you take like certain disciplines into effect too. And I get it where these guys are in supercross mode, where you can see the whole track from basically 5 rows up in a
Mhm.
in a stadium. They're not trying to memorize the whole track or where everything is. Plus, I mean, they're trying to remember where the braking bumps are, where the rut is, what line's working, what did I see in the heat. Not that it really mattered this week, because the heats were so messed up compared to the mains, but I mean, you get what I'm saying, where you're trying to memorize everything that to put down the fastest laps that you absolutely can, rather than just going out there and giving it the juice and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's I've never raced Supercross. I don't really like to jump, so it's never been like one of my I'm gonna go race Supercross right now type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can definitely see where a lot of that will play into effect.
Yeah, it could definitely be different. I mean, and it's it's so much different. I think for 250 results, if you're talking about it, with those things being so different, I don't see everybody else being at more of a disadvantage than Thrasher. Like there's nothing to say guys like Justin Cooper that there's any reason why they would be at a disadvantage over Thrasher because everybody didn't get the time on it. So I think the unfortunate part for Thrasher is, when he gets more track time again next, tomorrow night and on Saturday night, be like, well, why'd you do so bad again? Like what happened? It's like it was clearly a fluke.
Well, he said he's been battling real bad with arm pump, and I can get it going from amateur B class to basically professional Supercross.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big jump. The tracks are a lot rougher, they're a lot bigger. Your bike probably has more power than what you're used to,
especially that bike.
you know. Yeah. Yeah, especially the YZ250,
Yeah,
you know. So and plus your level of competition is that much higher, so that alone that's gonna raise your heart rate and get you to hang on fast or hard a lot harder too. So I can see where arm pump would come into it, and it's just hard to remember that some of these guys are just kids, man. Like Sexton is young too. You got Thrasher, who's real young. Cooper, he's a professional 250 guy, but the rest of those four are all real young. I don't even think they can legally buy alcohol yet. You know what I
I think,
mean?
yeah, I think Peters is the only one, or Peters might be the only one that can. I don't even know if he's that old. I think he's older just because he has a full time job, selling cars. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a kid job. Um,
Yeah. He gets the weekends off, so I can't complain about that.
yeah, this car salesman that gets the weekends off. What's wrong with that job?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely interesting, especially just thinking about all those factors for 250 guys. They're new on all of it. They've got to go into a whole new event, new style, no practice, no qualifying time, crazy mud. I
Oh
think
yeah.
think they all did kind of good. Of all things considered, Rex, non-Rex, in the heat and in the main for McAdoo. I just
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it though, where they
oh
don't
yeah,
just sit there and turn lap after lap after lap, and then by the time you get to see them like on TV or whatever, or even in the heat races for the guys that don't watch the qualifying, it to me it made it more interesting. You know what I mean? Because you don't have where they know where everything is right now. You have to actually use like race intelligence a lot
oh yeah, because
more.
even as the track conditions changing, like even if they lip road the hell out of it during the one qualifying session they did get, none of that stuff matters because they weren't blitzing the whoops, like in the
Yeah,
heat races and stuff. And things are changing so much more dramatically. They didn't get worn out qualifying two versus clear free practice. Everything, it was all so different. And it was just kind of exactly like you said. We get to really see who knows how to ride the bike and just feel it. And in the instances where race intelligence matters, you got to see them.
oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's not saying that the guys that didn't finish on the podium don't have race intelligence. I mean, there's obviously a tremendous amount of luck involved,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you get a bad, especially, and that was the thing. Every single one of these races, if I'm not mistaken, had a terrible first turn pileup.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
every heat race, every LCQ, every main, all of them had a first turn pileup. Not like three guys, at
yeah,
least three guys, if not more. And so yeah, there's definitely a luck thing. It's some of the guys that don't get the opportunity to show their race intelligence because they just weren't around anybody because of a pileup
yeah,
or a nasty track. Yeah, for sure. But it definitely provides some opportunities there.
yeah. And then, well, we got the 250 points. Well, we got. I can barely read that. I'm not wearing my glasses because otherwise they glare up
So we
real
got
bad.
we got
Uh,
Cooper with 131, Cameron McAdoo with 127, Hunter Lawrence with 118, Jalek Swole at 108, and Seth Hammaker rounding out the top 5 at 107. And even then, Marchbanks is still in 6th place with 102.
Yeah.
So your top 5 there is kind of where the possibilities have, or 6. You know, 5 is going to be exciting. 7th place is 20 points back, so they're not there. Granted, Marchbanks probably isn't going to win a title, but he could, if Club MX gets top 3, in the championship.
That's
pretty
exciting
good for them.
Well, the top 3 in these are only one race could cover the whole spread.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if Cooper messes up in the next 30 rounds, he is effectively, if something happens to him, Lawrence and McAdoo are tight, and with the way things are going, it's could with the way things are going, it could, who knows? They've had swaps around. They've been up at the top, at the bottom, point deductions. This has been far from a runaway for Cooper. He's been clearly the most consistent without penalties. So,
and it's the same way with Hunter too. Yeah, I mean, well, all Hunter needs is a bad race, and he's down to 5th or 6th place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got to keep doing good.
Yeah,
but with one bad race from McAdoo or Cooper, like if Cooper going down today or McAdoo going down tonight would have went just a little bit further south, Hunter could be right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and he looked pretty strong in the heat race too. He was putting on a clinic out there in that mud.
Oh yeah, that was the one where he just clicked up a gear out of nowhere, right, and just kind of took off.
Well, he started hitting the doubles when nobody else was, and I think Blair said the guys were making up like 9 seconds a lap for the ones hitting the doubles compared to the ones that weren't. That's insane.
Yeah, the time differentials when you could see those clearly difference between the guys that were starting to do stuff when the other ones weren't. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because I think I remember seeing that. I remember it now because Hunter was doing it, and you're all just kind of like, where is he getting this time from? And you were really worried, like, okay, yeah, everybody else probably could do that too, but are they not doing it because they're scared, or is he just like, I need to get this done, or is he just feeling confident?
Combination of all 3, I think, man.
Yeah.
He might have accidentally did it the first time or did it out of need the first time and then figured out it's not that bad and just started sending it on everyone that he could,
Yeah.
So
confidence or blind confidence, it's still the same, it works out the same sometimes.
Confidence is still in the word.
Yeah, exactly. It's still there. It's still there.
And then let's jump over to 450s real quick before we get too deep into the end of the weeds here. So the 450 results, we have Tomac, Sexton, Webb, Anderson, and Ferrandis in the top 5. Yeah, which sounds weird with the 450s, not a 250, but the 450s. Yeah, this was a definitely an interesting race. I can't say it was highly entertaining per se. I mean, it definitely had its times, like AP going down, which actually a little word from Tomac on AP going down. When he saw AP going down, that was the only time he knew he had a chance to win or even like finish in the top 2 of that race.
Yeah.
He said AP checked out. There was 0 chance that they were ever going to catch him until he slid out, which I thought was pretty crazy, and it's I mean, it makes sense. AP was gone. He was checking out. That was his race. Unfortunately, it was his race to lose also, but it's what can you do? It is racing, and it looked like he just lost the front a little bit, or the peg dug in, or it was something.
You could see it when I was watching the replay again this afternoon, and just the front wheel, the way he landed, there was a really big rut there, and it just kind of,
it was weird.
He could have avoided it, but you don't really expect that to happen. So,
yeah. And then, interesting fact that I also saw. Well, first let's kind of get into the. We'll wait a second. We'll go back to the interesting facts. Sorry, my brain's all over the place, folks. I apologize. Right? So Sexton in the press conference, he straight up said he rolled the double because when he went past the finish line, he thought the race was over.
Yep. Yeah, he thought he saw the white flag on the previous lap.
Yeah, which as we remember a couple 250 races ago, I think it was Indy, that he
Mm-hmm.
very well could have, and nobody caught it except for the racers, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah. Nichols
it's
with the look back.
yeah. So it is that makes a lot of sense as to why he kind of rolled the double, because he thought it was over, and then all of a sudden Tomac is still just on it, and he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta go," you know?
Yeah, when I saw it happen, I thought it was, because the way he went over that one double, he kind of was a little whatever because he thought Tomac was going to land on him. I got scared just watching that part, and so I kind of thought that maybe he thought somebody else was still right there, or that maybe because when he passed Cade, that for some reason Cade was still on it, and he was just kind of
Yeah,
rather play it safe than get landed on, almost get landed on twice. And I thought that's what happened.
yeah,
Because I mean, nobody else was close enough to him that he thought that there's five guys coming, but it just looked like he was kind of worried about it. Yeah, there was no way of knowing, and it was definitely kind of a little interesting to hear him think that he thought that
yeah.
was the last one.
The other thing I thought was interesting is he actually watched Justin Cooper the whole 250 main to figure out if he could jump blitz or where he could blitz the whoops on both sections of that track, which I thought
Ooh,
that was pretty entertaining. I was like, that's something that nobody ever talks about, you know?
yeah,
So, I mean, you have like a couple of the guys where they'll be like, do you watch, like in the 250 class, where they'll be like, do you watch the 450s just to kind of pay attention to what's going on in the next years, blah, 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 when you move up? And they're like, not really, you know? And
yeah,
450 guys, I've never really hear any talk about them actually watching the 250 guys.
not really,
So
no.
I thought that was very entertaining, and
And
I thought it
especially
was,
Sexton to say he picked out Cooper. It'd be
yeah,
different if like AP was like, "Hey, Star Buddy, let's talk about how was the track out there, right before you went." But for Sexton to outright say, "Yeah, I wasn't watching Hunter."
yeah, yeah. It's I definitely thought that was entertaining. It's like I said, it's something that you just never really hear of, And the other thing was for Tomac to pretty much say like, "Yeah, I'm out of the championship." Like that kind of caught me off guard too. Or
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Yeah, anything could happen, but theoretically, I'm out of the championship. Like I'm done." Like it's that
Yeah,
was weird to
36
hear.
points back.
Yeah. It was just weird to hear. And we still have 4 races, so a lot can happen in 4 races. But at the same time, to hear somebody just outright say, "I'm pretty sure I'm done in the championship, like there's nothing I can do," with 2 more races where you would think he could run away again,
Mm-hmm.
or at least win. I wouldn't necessarily call it this last one a runaway, but
Far from
where,
it.
where he could at least win. It's hard to not hear him say, like, "Yeah, I think we still at least have a shot," you know.
Yeah,
I, that was just weird to me. I
yeah, I
was
could
like,
definitely see
"Holy
how
cow!"
it's weird to hear, coming from the defending champ,
Yeah,
his mouth to say that. Yeah, yeah, we could go all day about whether it's better to just act like you're going to win it all the time, and whatnot. But I could definitely see how it's weird. Do do we want to talk about Tomac winning, or just he won, and it's on to the next?
I mean, he didn't really say anything about it. He was just kind of like, "Yeah, I won." I got in a lot more words. He pretty much said that he got lucky. It was,
I couldn't disagree with him any less. Like I just
yeah,
I don't want to. He won the race. That means he
yeah,
was there. He won the race. I will not take that away from him. I don't think he single handedly won this race.
yeah. And it was, I mean, we still can't count Webb out either. I mean, Webb is probably the most headstrong person in that paddock in
Yeah, no,
any given week.
I think I'm pretty sure I heard it. Webb effectively said, if he didn't say it, I could be making this up, and that there was talk about it. But how do you not just be like, well, I don't need to push it? He knows
Yeah.
at some point that Kenny's so far behind. I don't need to win this race, and that's where we're at in this championship.
He just needs to finish in front of Kenny. That's really all he's got to do every week,
Yeah.
And it was what I thought was kind of funny as well. I was kind of clicking through articles sitting on the couch yesterday, I came across an article that had DeCoster quoted that said Webb might be the most mentally strong rider / person that he has ever worked with in his entire career.
That gets me excited knowing that DeCoster said that.
Yeah, which I thought that was a huge pat on the back, but it's kind of what we've been talking about with Webb all the time. Like, I wouldn't say he's good with head games, but his head game is that you can't mess with his head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he can get in yours all he wants, but you're not getting in his. And I think that is a substantial head game compared to anybody else in 250s and 450s.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then
for DeCoster to say that means something, because, you know, half the time when you hear talk like that about a rider, it's kind of hard for me not to be really cynical and be like, well, maybe this is just one of those things that now everybody uses the term because Masters said it one night.
Yeah.
You know, like with the whole Webb's a gamer thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. You know, that term could mean so many different things, but like, you know, so there's days where I wonder, like, is he really headstrong, or is he just really good and now everybody thinks he's headstrong because he's good? You know, so like you could easily go backwards on that, but when you get somebody like DeCoster that says, no, legitimately, this guy is so mentally strong, especially for, you know, how many people has DeCoster worked with over his career?
A lot. DeCoster was racing with
count.
like Lars Lindstrom way back when Husky and KTM first came to the States, man.
Yeah, DeCoster was literally an OG motocross guy. You know,
yeah. Was that like 71 or 73 or something like that? Like he's been around. So for him to say that I mean, I know if he had said that about me, it would add a little bit more pressure. Like, oh shit, I'm doing something right. I can't change, you know?
Yeah, especially somebody like DeCoster says it.
Yeah. But I think that what he said is true. And you could kind of tell in the press conference where even Webb was like, it doesn't even matter. You know, like, I'm just going to go out there and race. I'm going to do my best. What everybody else says doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care. And I think that is his true feelings, you know, like it doesn't matter. Nobody cares what you have to say about Cooper Webb if you're Cooper Webb, you know.
Yeah, his demeanor pretty much displays that.
Oh yeah. And then what was it? I saw another one that I thought was pretty cool. Oh, Webb saying that he accidentally got a really good gate pick, that everybody else kind of looked over that gate, but it probably had the best rut coming out of the gate. But because it was on the outside of the doghouse, everybody just walked right past it. And he had 9th gate pick. So 8 other guys walked past what Webb called a pristine gate just to be on the inside of the doghouse, which makes sense.
Heard that happen a couple of times for some people where they've said, yeah, like, you know, somebody passed up because it wasn't in the traditional good spot for that type of start, but they just weren't looking at all the other factors in it.
Yeah. And I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, and it's like, personally, I prefer a little bit to the outside to kind of cheat in so that I can get a straight shot into the apex. Anyway, that's just me. You know, I mean, yeah, you might get stuck on the outside, but Cooper is a good starter anyway, so he doesn't really have to worry about that. And with the doghouse to the inside, that's a nice little gap right there anyway to work with, you know. So
yeah,
even if there is like one bike on the inside, chances are when they take off, they're going to cheat into that gap anyway, which is going to open you up a little more. All you have to do is get off the line faster than the guy to your right side, you know, and then you're pretty golden.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a lot of the start too is, you know, I think it's not too far of a stretch to say a guy that's as clearly mentally strong as we're talking about Cooper Webb being, you know, part of the start is when you're sitting there and you're looking at all those guys funneling into one corner, part of each of their decisions is who's gonna fade first. They all have to make the decision: is he gonna hit the brakes or am I gonna hit the brakes?
Oh yeah, it's a big game of chicken.
See Cooper Webb being the bulldog guy, being like,
"Oh yeah,
nah, man, it's not me. Like I'm not hitting the brakes unless the guy in front of me is hitting the brakes."
Well, even then, he's not guaranteed to hit the brakes. You know,
this is also true.
But it's I mean, there's only a few guys on that are typically on that line that I would not like to start with, especially like to have on the outside, because you know they're coming in, and that's Bam Bam, Webb, and Tomac. Like, you're not moving those three. I don't care. You're not moving them. If Tomac gets a start, he's a cinder block sitting in the middle of the track. Like, you're not moving him. And
that's the
Bam
funny
Bam
thing
will,
too, because like those are three different guys with kind of the range of body styles for riders.
yeah.
It's not like they're all giant men.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
Barsha is like
it,
knee
he's
high
got
to a
another
grasshopper
personality.
and weighs about as much as a popcorn fart. I mean, he's tiny. He's like the size of a 13-year-old, man.
Yeah.
But that bike is a weapon underneath him. And Anderson found that out. So
Yeah.
that's the big difference there. And I don't know. Those three, though, would definitely have me hitting the brakes first. The rest of the guys, I wouldn't want to hit them also, but at the same time, I don't think it would have as disastrous of effect of running into those three.
Yeah.
But
I just saw Plessinger go down again. It's what it was is when he landed in the rut, his rear wasn't in line, and just with that track, and you could see it too when it cleared out. It just left a slick underneath it, and it wasn't in line. It hit the gas, and the rear just came out and
just
came
cross
around on
rutted.
him.
It's like a backwards cross rut.
Yep. Yeah, it just slid in, and when he went over that next little hump, just wasn't it.
Let's run down some points real quick before we forget.
Oh, some 450 points.
450s.
We got Webb in first place with 296. Ken Roxon, 274. 25 points behind. Almost a full race.
That's one race. Yeah.
And then Tomac with 260. This is the 36 points behind. And then Barsha's in fourth with 227. AP is in fifth with 200.
Yeah.
So he's definitely far and above his points total at this point in time last year now. Now that we're into that Salt Lake territory where everybody was riding not themselves necessarily, or most of the pack wasn't. He's definitely far and above where he was, which is a little bit different compared to when we looked at it, a few weeks ago at around 10 out of 17.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mookie's right behind him too. Those two linked up, if I remember right. So
he's at 191.
So Yamaha has to be happy with that.
Yeah, for them to have two potential, like one top five now and a potential of two in the top five. We've got 6 manufacturers now. The 4 Japanese, 7 manufacturers. Big 4, KTM, Gas, Husky. 7 manufacturers now for Yamaha to potentially have 2 in the top 5.
Yeah. Well, right now, unless you count KTM and company, we have almost all of them covered right now. The only ones that we don't have in the top 5 is what?
Suzuki
Husqvarna and Suzuki. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think, that's pretty cool. I don't know the last time that's ever happened. Maybe that's something that we can look into for some stat stuff, man. Absolutely. I don't know. We'll mark it down. I'll probably forget. So it's other than that, that's pretty close to it. If you are listening, our little live counter topic thing isn't it's not telling us how many people are listening. So to us, it's just me and Tiller talking like we usually do throughout the week about races. I can see that Jesse and Sean both joined us, which is great to see. But tell us your thoughts on the race, like 250 or 450. We'll try to get into them. I don't really, except for Bam Bam doing Bam Bam things, that was really the only other big thing that I really wanted to talk about. Where
in the 450s too, talk about Bam Bam. I still don't know how much of that was really his fault on that first corner. I think it's more of a kind of what happened is what happened. In it, but if we're talking about that, you see clearly a camera shot. Barsha, Roxon, Ferrandis all on the ground at the same time. And we were talking
Yeah.
about this before we started the show. Ferrandis finished in 5th place, and he was in last place in the first corner on the ground with Roczen and Barcia.
Yeah, not even on the track.
Yeah, yeah. And he came all the way back through the whole pack to get 5th, and Barcia ended in 10th, and Roczen ended in 9th. So he was feeling it that night, and I think.
I mean
it's just an
Anderson
amazing
was
ride.
feeling it too. Did you see the pictures of his bike after that?
Which one?
Anderson?
Oh, yeah.
Snapped the shift lever off and bent the peg all to hell.
Yeah, for him to finish in
4th
with only 3rd gear.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know if that's just lucky because of the track, or if that's also rider skill, because you can't. There's some of those corners, some of those 90s, especially right there about where Plessinger crashed. Not a 3rd gear corner.
Oh yeah, and that's what did he just say? I'll be surprised if Tomac doesn't
sweep Atlanta.
Sweet Atlanta.
Well,
apparently he's
Jesse
taking
would
ATL
be
out
sweet on Tomac if he did sweep Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still kind of holding out on it. It's
I'd have to see a dominant performance on the second one.
Yeah, I think I can't say Tomac wouldn't pass Sexton, but I can't say that he would pass Sexton to win that race. Cade Clayson, I feel bad for that kid, man. I mean, he's a home state kid, and he is just wrong place at the wrong time. It almost looked like he tried to give Sexton the bottom of the track.
Well, Sexton even said it in the press conference. Like, he didn't blame it on Cade. He said it was partly my fault too. I mean, they both were talking about it. Cade in his post-race interview was just like, how am I supposed to know what to do when I'm kind of battling for my best 450 main event finish? Battling was a little bit of a stretch of the word. And then they were just aggressively and unaggressively waving blue flags at him for 3 laps.
Yeah.
He turns around, going to the corner. Sexton's at least 4 bike lengths behind him. You don't assume Sexton's just going to pile drive right in there, he could have just solved like, oh, Sexton, let me pull off. But also at the same time, I'm Cade Clayson. I'm in 17th, my best 450 main event finish.
Yeah.
Gotta hold it strong.
And 3 laps, even if I can see maybe if it's 1 lap, maybe 3 sections, I could see waving the blue flag. But this has been where these guys have been griping about this the whole time. If you're going to use the blue flag, use it consistently.
Yeah, and you could see it too in that section. You could see there was a yellow flagger on either side of that little kink.
Yeah.
Keyword, they only had yellow flags.
Yeah.
Right there where a key spot mattered, before the finish line. The flaggers before the finish line, where you need blue flags, didn't have blue flags in their hands.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, and if I could do a breakdown video without getting us kicked off YouTube, I for sure would. But YouTube gets their panties in a bunch every time I do something cool like that. But you could see Cade kind of move up to give Sexton the bottom, because he's battling for the lead, and you can obviously see Tomac back there too.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think he's going to go? He's going to go to the bottom, and Sexton didn't go to the complete bottom, which surprised Cade. And then Cade tries to maintain his line so that Sexton can get around him as fast as possible without having to play the let's guess where Cade's going to go game, which I thought was very heads up riding by Cade. And then as soon as he figured out that he was in between Sexton and Tomac, and he found a safe place to exit the track, he pulled all the way off the track.
Straight off.
Like it sucks that they ran into each other, but if you actually go back and look at it, there's not a lot Cade could do. And what he did do, I felt was the best for the situation. So you can't really be mad at him, And I mean, that's a lot of weight to have sitting on your shoulders with people going after him on Instagram and Facebook and all this other stuff. But I don't think he did anything wrong.
No, he didn't.
Like, what do you want him to do? Like, ghost ride it off the backside of the berm? Like, come on, people. you know?
Yeah, even if you sat there and criticized him about like what else he could have done, it's just that you'd have to reasonably argue that what he did was by far the dumbest thing of all available options, and you can't. Yeah, he
Yeah.
could have done a few other things, like 2 to 3 other things there in that corner, but none of them are markedly better than what he did do. There wasn't an obvious thing that he should have done, and that's the end of the day. There wasn't an obvious thing that he should have done. There's clearly so many different opinions on it because there's so many different things that he could have done. And
Yeah. I mean, that was probably the widest Supercross track that we have seen all year.
mm-hmm.
And he gave up the race line, the bottom, going into that turn where you probably want the bottom. And I think they were running the bottom in the laps previous to that or prior to that. So, I mean, it's not like he was riding without his head up. You know, he was obviously watching what was going on. He tried to stay out of the way. It just didn't work out. And when he could safely get out of the way, keyword there is safely, he did. You know, like you don't want to hit the first place guy and then go to leave the track and hit the second place guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's just I mean, at this point it is what it is. I mean, it was a heads up move, I think. And
Yeah, they're not ballerinas. They don't know, Tomac and Clayson don't ride together every day to where they know, well, if he does this, then that's what I need to do, type
yeah,
thing. It was safe. It happened. It worked out. And yeah, but I mean, to the main point, Tomac could have caught Sexton there at the end, but also, I mean, the part of the thing is, it
he
was
could
a
have not.
he could have not. It was still a last lap pass where he wasn't battling anybody else, the whole
Yeah.
race because Anderson was missing a shift lever. Barsha went down. Cooper went down. Kenny went down. Like his main competitors in the top 5, top 6 of the championship weren't there because of a first lap incident. Like I said, I'm not going to take it away. Tomac won this race
Yeah.
because of the way this race played out. He didn't. I don't think he beat Barsha, Webb, and Roxon tonight. And that's where my biggest thing about this week is with the way how crazy Saturday played out. I do not know what to expect tomorrow night.
What's he say? Sorry, I was reading. It says old Cade did Sexton a favor going to the inside. The outside was faster, and Tomac wouldn't have been able to cut through Clayson to make a block pass. Missed opportunity for Sexton. Yeah, well, Sexton said that he was going to the inside to prevent a block pass. Like that was his whole plan, was inside, because he thought it was the last lap.
Yeah. Yeah, if he weren't trying to play defensive, it would have been a totally different thing. And that's also part of the crazy part about this situation is if he didn't think it was the like 2 corners before the finish, he probably wouldn't have done that. So yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I see how it all played out, and I see most people's I see Jesse, I definitely see your side of it too, but I don't know. Yeah, I think Sexton thinking that it was the last lap. That it definitely did I don't know. It was weird. That was a weird situation. I would have had to sat there and watch the replay a bunch of times to even come up with what to say during a breakdown video.
Yeah, and even then, if we wouldn't have had Sexton just come out right and say what he thought was going on during the press conference, half the opinions probably would have been way different without knowing what Sexton actually thought was happening.
Yeah, and I think Tomac was too far back to make a block pass anyway. He would have had to send it full in and super late apex, and that gets dangerous, especially on a track like that where it was still just a little slick. I don't know if he could have made a block pass happen in that first turn. Maybe the second, if he really whipped it up top and just let her eat, but he was kind of far back. I don't know if he could have got it done. I'm trying to visualize it in my brain right now, but I feel like he was too far back.
But that's the fun part about that section anyways. It was part of the things I liked about this track were those bowls on those corners are huge. That really kind of changed up a different line from a normal kind of 180 bowls. Those things were so big because this track was so wide. It really kind of changes the slingshot pattern of doing a bull turn like that. And
Yeah.
even if it wasn't a block pass, I think Sexton was saying that he was trying to kind of block Tomac's potential lines to slow him down. Not necessarily to make it a
Yeah.
block pass, but just to kind of, if I'm cutting from inside to inside, then he can't
Get on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like looking back on it. I don't know. Like, I can see where Cade was definitely a deterrent for a block pass. And I can see listening to Sexton's interview where he said, I wanted to go inside to inside because I thought it was the last lap. I don't know. If Sexton didn't think it was the last lap, would he have went on top of Clayson?
I think, and that was one of the arguments I heard was that I think because some of them were taking the higher line in those corners because it was just kind of a consistent faster, that
Yeah.
maybe he would have went higher.
Yeah, I don't know. Now it's got me all thinking and my brain's all broken. So now I'm probably going to get like a migraine or something.
I mean, I think that the big thing is that they could have done that so many different ways, no matter what the situation was. That, I'm not Sexton about to win a 450 or supposedly about to win a 450 main and trying not to have an overexcited brain about what's going on when there's a lapper in front of me after this, season of hate the lappers.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was definitely not the same situation of like Roxon versus Wilson.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, that was
feel like
totally
it was
different.
The same situation there. And I don't feel like it was the same situation of Barsha and Tomac getting caught up with Freeze.
No.
If that was a weird situation, I don't think we'll ever see another situation like that either. You know what I mean? Where the leader thinks it's the last lap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because of Sexton's, like, oh, I think this is the last lap. Yeah, it totally changes up what you think would or should have happened.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's definitely crazy. I don't even know what to think. Like, Jesse brings up good points. You bring up good points. I thought I had it figured out, but of course I got to talk to you guys and I'm like, do I actually have it figured out? Maybe I don't, but that's the fun part about this show where we can all just, I mean, it's like garage talk from all over the East Coast,
East Coast. Yeah. I think it's a roll of the dice. Yeah. I mean, I just watched it, literally just looking at it again. I think it's a roll of the dice, like Dungeons and Dragons scenarios. Like anything could happen right there. From thinking it was something different and always going. I don't know, but I'm curious to see how it plays out. Oh, and you mentioned the Freeze situation. He broke ribs in that. I didn't find that out till this afternoon.
That was a bad wreck. He had to have launched like 30 feet. That was a horrible wreck.
Goggles flying off.
Dude, his whole visor was gone, which doesn't say much because most of the modern day ones, the visors just flip off anyway, but watching him fly and like contort and not get caught on the bike, but just get completely slingshot was pretty graphic, man. Like, that could have been way worse. He landed exactly like down to the degree to minimize his injuries, I think.
Yeah, it could have been a lot. It could have, it's just the way he was flying. It could have been neck, head.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah.
And Max is just sitting there like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. Max knows somebody was right behind him, but all of a sudden you're on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it looked like he lost. Sorry, my wallet just fell out of my pocket. It looks like he broke traction and then kind of got on the binders to get the rear wheel back under him. And then Freeze just didn't have time to react and just
there was no time to react. Himself. They were so close. He was on the inside. He was getting ready to go outside, and right as he was getting ready to go outside, Max's rear wheel steps out and just catches it. Like, you almost can't choreograph that.
It was like a video game, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. For Freezy,
There's a
man, this is
lot of hate for Freeze,
no,
like
it's
on the internet right now too.
yeah, that's the sad part about it. It's like, and it's the same thing with all these other scenarios of like the Lapper stuff. It's like you guys are just hating just to hate. You don't.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I hate talking about haters and stuff, but like this is just the one thing where it seriously sucks to be Freezy this year on so
yeah.
many things. Yeah, I seriously wonder because I think some of the conversations have been, you know, he's is he, is he taking up a spot? His results aren't that great. He's like pretty consistent, but he's consistent. But I don't know. Maybe after this year, I don't know when his contract's up, but
I mean, the thing is, like with the whole he's taking a spot scenario, at the end of the day, he's qualifying for mains, and there's plenty of other dudes putting their stuff back on the trailer that didn't qualify.
oh yeah, no, with his
You
starts,
know,
I'd keep Freezy on over some of those other guys.
yeah,
Like I don't want to hate on Shane or anything like that, but while you've had all these other guys going and now you got Boss quitting races,
yeah,
I'll take Freezy, man. Freezy's getting started. Dude, he pulled some 6 starts last year on that bike, and
oh yeah,
he's riding a brand new bike this year for the whole team. I'd keep him.
and he's still not doing bad starts.
No.
I mean, but it is. I mean, I don't know. Does Is he taking a spot on a team? No, because I think he's the glue that's kind of holding that team together. He's the vet. He's the guy that's going out there and doing a lot of their testing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those other guys, I don't think they're just nearly as good at testing as he is. I mean, he's taking one for the team, riding the 21, not just for him, but like for all the Honda guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a big difference. And then on top of that, I mean, he's just had bad luck this year. That thing with Barsha and Tomac, it's hard to blame him. Barsha kind of pushed the envelope on that one.
Yeah, at best it's a 50-50.
Yeah. And then what was the other one that he had where we're like, oh, that was definitely Freeze? I can't remember what it was now.
I know there was the one race where the two restarts and his bike, went off. Like the second one, it looked like he was doing something, but that when he launched his bike the second time, on one of the earlier races, he was trying to avoid not landing on Chisholm. He thought he was going to kill Chisholm, and he was like, I had to send the bike, and it looked like he was doing something stupid. And it's like, I mean, maybe he was doing something stupid if he thought he was going to land on Chiz, but like, also at the same time,
he landed on A-Ray too, didn't he? At Indy when A-Ray dumped it.
No, A-Ray landed on his bike.
Oh, is that what it was?
Because they went over that giant double.
Yeah.
Vince went down first, and then A-Ray just landed on his bike because remember he had a piece of Vince's bike stuck in his bike.
Oh yeah, that's another guy who just has horrible luck this year. And those two being on the same track together, it's just a matter of time when something bad's gonna happen this year.
A-Ray's luck has not been good, but also I think A-Ray's kind of the ones where you're like, were you inviting the bad luck in? By like riding the piss out of your bike too much.
I don't know. If I had to take Freeze or A-Ray, I would probably take Freeze. To be honest,
I would.
With you.
Yeah, if I given those two, I would. Not because I think A-Ray's a bad guy, but no one else rides a bike as hard as A-Ray does. Nobody's blown up multiple motors.
Yeah, even Tomac, and Tomac's notoriously hard on equipment.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they need to have a running tally. The team that A-Ray is on, they need to have a running tally of the inside of that door, how much money each guy's brought in versus how much they've spent. I definitely think we need to see a weekly or a race tally after every race.
The tally on the door of the total of the parts bill.
Yeah. They just don't update it as often as what I would like to see.
Yeah. Did you hear that? When Swap Moto did the April Fool's joke for them supposedly like closing because of A-Ray's parts bill. So that was like their April Fool's joke was, because of A-Ray's climbing parts bill, the team's having to shut down. It was an April Fool's joke on April Fool's. They ended up, calling April Fool's later, but poor SGB, some of their sponsors ended up calling them being like, hey, wait, what? Why are you closing down? They had to go out and like say like, no, just like, hey, you really need to know this was an April Fool's joke. And
I didn't hear about that.
Some cover up. It was kind of funny because I mean the April Fool's joke was. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear that it was an April Fool's joke, but for some of the sponsors to like freak out and be like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. I mean, I could see it turned into what should be a funny joke to an epic joke, I guess is what I would call it.
Yeah, for sure.
That is pretty funny. That's I don't know. Maybe Jesse did bring up a good point to run back to the comments. He said we always have the website to put up a breakdown, man.
Yep.
Maybe I do throw together some clips for the breakdown, man, and we just find some time this week and help me out with it so that we can get both sides. Really break it down, dude.
Done.
It's up to you. But it's yeah, I mean, other than that, it was a pretty straightforward race, man. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay up and watch it, but it's yeah, I don't
Drink
know.
your rain a few hours later. I
Oh
promise it'll
man,
work.
if I drink one of those things after like 10 o'clock, I'm up the whole night. So
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Just
and I already
9:30.
have trouble sleeping because I keep hitting myself in the face with this thing. And it's not a hard cast yet. It's still just like the soft cast until I go to the specialist.
Yeah,
So
for
it's
the
like,
listeners, he's talking about hitting himself with his cast.
yeah, my splint, dude. It's not even a cast yet. I won't know until tomorrow if I get actually casted or if they have to cut me open. But it's I keep hitting myself with the hard part, and then I'm a stomach sleeper. So like I'll roll over and like sleep on my stomach, and then I'll put my head like right on my wrist, man, and then I'm up. Like it hurts, dude.
Yeah, I'm a left side. If that were me right now on the left side, normally if I do the left side arm thing, yeah, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. No way.
And then like I'm constantly worried about like whacking my wife in the face with it like when I roll over, because now I'm like consciously like holding it away from my body when I roll at night. I'm like, I'm just gonna clap her right across the face with the hard like bottom part.
Only because you know it would hurt you more than it would hurt her.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, like I don't want to do this, so I'm trying to be all conscious about it. My sleep's all messed up, man.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I mean, I don't know. What else do we have? Don't I doubt we're gonna be able to get together to do another review show for the Tuesday night race, which means that it's kind of on Jesse on Friday to kind of review at noon, review and preview, I guess. We talked about trying to do it on Thursday. I have my kids down here. Maybe I can get them to like chill out long enough to do a quick show. I don't know. Maybe I can have them sit here with me. They'll like that, but they'll want to touch everything. Yeah, I mean,
it's a crazy week. It's hard to fit these things in when we got 3 races on one week, or maybe,
yeah,
yeah. I don't think I'll be working at home on on Friday to help out. Yeah, we could talk about it. We got all week. It all depends on what happens tomorrow night. Maybe tomorrow night's the most boring race ever. Doubt it, but
yeah, I don't see that one happening.
no.
The one thing that I didn't bring up because it didn't really fit with kind of what we were talking about, but ET saying that we definitely need the evolution of Supercross is going to the super speedways, man. And I can't disagree with that.
I think if we can't get the manufacturers to chill on the bike development,
that's not going to happen.
It's going to, I mean, it's a thing, and then just, I don't think they're going away. I think now after this, with the way I saw this race going and the way I imagine the next 2 are going to go, well, Atlanta's not a hot market. We're not going back to Mercedes-Benz anymore.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure about that. So if this one works out, maybe this is a thing, and then maybe we get more of them. I think the only downside for Feld is money from the fans, unless they really work out the whole Daytona, pack them in on the.
There's so many stands right there on the front stretch, though. Like, I go to a lot of NASCAR races, man. You can fit so many people there that you could legitimately have like a whole stadium full of people just right there to watch that portion of the Supercross.
Are you talking about sitting seats in the stands, or are you talking about just standing there like they do at Daytona?
Just seats in the stands, like right up by the front stretch, you know?
And there's grandstands?
Yeah, dude, there's so many seats there. I mean, if you think about it, when you're talking like NASCAR circle track, the start finish line is where everybody wants to sit anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where most of their seats are. A lot of them. Like,
I just didn't imagine that the quantity of seats in a grandstand section like that would equate to like the number of seats in the Mercedes-Benz all the way around, all the way to the top. I just couldn't imagine that it'd be the same amount of seats. I mean, look into that.
There's a lot of seats. Plus, you figure those tracks are so long when they put them in there. So it's not, you're not just talking 2 or 3 sections. I mean, you're talking with Atlanta, you could go from the end of pit road to the end of pit road. I mean, you're talking 10, 15, 20 sections going up 4, 5, 6 stories high at least.
Yeah. I'll have to look at that later and see. But I do know that the benefit of the super, if they do it like Daytona, even if the seats equal the same, now that I'm saying this, because this is a normal year, you go back to Daytona, they pack them in like sardines down there on the actual asphalt too. So that's a
big plus.
Yeah.
And those tickets aren't cheap. Not even a little.
No, they're
cheap.
not. Actually, the funny part was I was thinking about it now after watching Atlanta on Saturday. One of the first camera views I saw, I thought I would picked a really good height level because I was like, I don't want to be too high. And then
you're too high.
Seeing where the camera was, I was like, I don't think I'm high enough.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, like you get the angle of the stand, and obviously I'm a little bit further away. But now just seeing like where the cameras are and stuff, above my seat, I mean, I'll be able to see fine, but I actually think that I would give up a little bit of sitting back to get a much better angle on the.
Well, don't forget, some of those cameras are like 1.5 zoom, man. So it's kind of deceptive.
Well, the zoom for sure, but I mean, I'm just talking about the angle. Like I thought they were just too high.
Yeah.
And I don't think
where I was at with Indy, there was a couple spots where I couldn't see. I was close enough to see 7/8 of the track, or far enough to see 7/8 of the track, but close enough to still feel involved. Like I could see like the whites in their eyes, man. And like I like sitting close though, and that's why I have like you guys on the Discord and stuff like that to be like, oh, wreck in the corner that you can't see. Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the same thing. And there's plenty of things you can see, like when you saw the Marv thing with the red flag that we couldn't see. And that's the same way when I go to Atlanta, I prefer, there's usually behind the finish line jump. And then like last year, Atlanta, I couldn't see behind the over under because of the way they lined up where I was sitting, but I was sitting so close to everything else. Like I was sitting in that sweet 180 in the sand section or into the sand section with the wall. Yeah, that was being that much closer in a general good spot there. I always try to get in the first corner just for that action. It's definitely worth it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to get the Speedway experience after doing Georgia Dome and Mercedes-Benz for
I want to see him bring back like Charlotte Motor Speedway. I want to see him bring that one back. Maybe Texas Motor Speedway. That'd be cool. There's a lot of really nice speedways that have that same kind of setup. Like they could probably do it at like Phoenix or Pocono, or there's a lot of speedways that have potential to build a cool Supercross track on. So hopefully Feld takes this stuff seriously and doesn't just write it down to, oh, we have to do it because of the old Coronas. I mean, you can still do it for the Coronas, just do it for the cold one,
Yeah. Another one I heard, they could have jokingly been saying it, but Bristol, the whole, they got that infield right there in the middle. It's so small. There's no buildings there, really.
Yeah.
There's, like one, but they've got that whole infield, and that's a stadium where you could sit, and they could build a pretty sweet track around that whole place on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. I don't know if Feld has the pull to make it happen, but it would still be cool to do,
Yeah.
But it's let's run down some of the awards real quick. We haven't done that yet. Your Bro Taco sauced it moment, which we both agreed. Let us know if you don't agree or if you have a better one. But we thought Marchbanks in the 250 main with the whoops wipeout, he sauced that landing. That could have been 10 times worse.
The way that bike just came around to.
Oh, yeah.
And
I thought he was going to get launched.
Just nuts.
Yeah.
He just gracefully landed in between the whoops.
It's like he's done it a million times, man. He knew exactly what was going to happen.
He practiced it at Club MX.
Right. And the SUNSTAR drive of the race, Ferrandis, from last to fifth in the 450 main. It was impressive, especially because, I mean, it's Ferrandis. We haven't really heard a lot about him in the 450s, and to see him really put in the work to get it up there. Not that he can't do it week to week, but
I've had this written down as a thing I want to look at to see, and I think I'll wait till the end of the season to really tally it up to make sure. But I'm pretty positive he's got the most net position gains over the whole season. He's had at least 3 or 4 races now where he's been in the back and just gassed it.
He's just has bad starts this year, man.
Yeah.
Tomac would be up there too. He's had some bad starts and came through a lot of people.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. I don't know if this has been. I guess it's obviously not the Tomac, race drives that we're used to seeing when he gasses it and comes back to first, type thing. But I don't. Maybe it's just because they don't get talked about as much as Ferrandis. Because Ferrandis will be up there sometimes. He'll fall back again and then make it back plus some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I think I'm going to predict that before I do the final math on it, I think that Ferrandis has got the most net
Overall.
passes at the end of the season. Yeah, net
Yeah.
position gains.
It's a possibility. We'll have to figure that out. You're the stats guy, man.
Yep, I've got that one written down as well. But I was going to look at it ahead of time, but I think it's pointless to do before the end of the season because that'll be a fun one to look at the end of the season.
We only have a handful of races left, so it's closing up fast, man.
4 more. I can't wait for the East-West shootout. Oh, man.
And then also the new preview show, we kind of hinted at it earlier, Fridays at noon Eastern. Come hang out with Jesse, possibly some of the crew. All depends on schedules and whatnot. I will most likely be in there in the comments talking smack because that's what I do to get all of the news before the gate drop for Saturday's race. Come hang out with us. I can't type as fast anymore, but give me a couple months and I'll be back to typing fast. So
to learn to use the text to speech on the phone and just yell into YouTube.
Oh yeah, then I'll end up like Gopher Sauce 450 Tomac. People will be like, "What?" My mom uses that, and sometimes you're like, "What?" Like it's not even. I don't even understand what you're trying to say. you know? But it's yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. Do you have much else, man? I don't really have anything else. It was a pretty straightforward race. So
yeah, I think tomorrow night's going to be an exciting comparison to see what it looks like when they get all the qualifying time, all the practice time. The track's not that much different as far as the layout. They changed up the kink there before the finish line for it, or according to the track map. Obviously, it's subject to change a little bit, but that's the biggest change for this race, other than obviously changing up the individual rhythms. But the layout effectively is the same. I'm really interested to see how this plays out differently with a track that maybe Webb's more comfortable on, and he's like, I don't mind pushing it on this. Like to see Barsha, Anderson, Roxon, Ferrandis all come around the first corner, not on the ground, to see what a proper, top 5 battle looks like tomorrow night.
Yeah, based on what we saw this last race, I really think the top 5 in points have a chance to have a top 5 battle in the next at least 2 races because they're all going to be pretty strong. The only one that I'm not 100% about is Roxon. I mean, he's got to bring a lot to the table tomorrow and Saturday. So I don't know. It feels kind of weird this year to go do one of these shows and not really talk about Roxon. But what is there to say? Like, I mean, he just didn't perform. He didn't perform good and he didn't perform bad. So what do you say about him?
I mean, it's the thing. He is now officially in a position where his finishing position has to be above Webb in these next 3 races for it to not be called at the end of the first Salt Lake City championship. If Webb finishes above him in the next 3 races, Webb claims it early.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's got to stop being mediocre and start being K-Rock, dude. Put on the suit, dude. Go to the back of that closet, get that suit, and just vibe, man.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know though. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know what's going through his head. It's got to be a lot of
Honda
pressure, though.
deliver an NSX that he can drive to the track every day for the next 5 rounds, and just listen to some sweet metal in the car that he loves rocking out to, and just turn it on.
Isn't he a reggae guy?
No, that's the crazy part about him. He's reggae and metal.
Oh, dang. There's got to be some weird hybrid band somewhere that's like reggae metal, dude, or like Jamaican metal.
Oh, he's found it. He's found it.
Right.
He had a really funny video on Instagram the other day, him and his son doing a sweet drum session to a Slipknot song. That was pretty great.
Oh,
and then the next day, I think they had a reggae one too. So it was
I have to go back and look at it, man. Let's do the rundown real quick and close this thing out, man. I'm gonna go take some more acetaminophen and hang out for a bit. So
yeah,
these bright lights are not being kind to me right now. But after the show, don't forget to run over there, stop at power2theground.com. Jump in pick'ems. Even if you haven't played all year, jump in, get a feel for it so that going into the outdoors, you know what to expect. And come, I'm waiting for Tiller to put together how bad I did this weekend. I know on Rocky Mountain, I only scored 46 points. So I mean, this week I could have theoretically dropped all the way back to 7th place if I had a bad race. That's how close the pick'ems are. Got a great group of guys in there. They're all gamers, man. I've never seen a fantasy anything where you could like, what is there, 6 points in between 1st through 7th place?
Yeah.
I mean,
this is right. Skindred.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, pick them. Yeah. I've got to get in there, get ready. I'm still trying to think of today. I was thinking on the drive home, what kind of prize can I throw together for a little bit extra incentive to bring your friends to play outdoors with us?
Speaking of prizes, bro, we forgot to talk about the trophy. Jesse got that sweet trophy that he finally showed everybody a picture of.
We saw that trophy.
Dude, don't trust my brain right now. I don't trust my brain right now.
It is it's pretty sick trophy. I think Jesse affectionately called it a potential, I don't know if I can say that on the show. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. It looks heavy. It's solid. It's clean.
It's awesome. Stop over at the Facebook page if you haven't already and check it out. I think he just posted it up on a Saturday, I think it was. Yeah, it was just before the race.
The race on Saturday, yeah. He put up a picture in the Discord, which, by the way, also on powertotheground.com and Facebook is linked to the Discord.
Yeah.
Come check us out. Chat with us. See Doug's crazy photos of his nasty bruises.
They are PG, I can assure you.
Totally safe for work. They're safe for work, yeah.
Also, don't forget, while you're cruising the web, checking out our Facebook and our website, to stop over at brotacofoods.com. Get you some of the amazing sauce. Like my pre-show ritual all the time, some pizza and brap sauce. Jesse thinks it's weird that I put hot sauce on pizza, but a pepperoni pizza without buffalo sauce as the regular sauce instead of marinara with some brap sauce on top. Dude, you haven't had pizza until you've had it the Doug way. So get you some brap sauce, call Pizza Hut, get you a pepperoni lovers with some buffalo sauce as the regular sauce. Throw your brap sauce up on it. It's golden. I just changed your life forever if you take my advice. I just changed it forever.
My brain is literally spinning right now. I just
right. Hey, I was a professional fat kid until I got back into racing, man. If when it comes to good food that isn't healthy for you, I got you covered. I know some tips and tricks, man.
Yeah.
Also, stop over to sunstar-braking.com. Hit up the support email. I am still working on the website to figure out the promo codes. Not figure them out. It's basically we are rebuilding the whole website right now. Stop over there. Hit up the support email, support@sunstar-braking.com. Use code. It can be cryptic. Tiller sent me. Jesse sent me. Sean sent me. Steve sent me. Doug was rambling on and on because he doesn't have a promo code for it and how I go about doing this. Just send it in the email and I'll hook you up with 30% off. Other than that, Don't forget to hit up your pick'ems and like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe
Right.
and share.
And as Tiller said, we are working out some things to try to figure out to help grow not only pick'ems but also our audience. Because I mean, we love having you guys on here to talk with us, especially talk moto, but we can talk pizzas too. As you can tell, I'm a pizza entrepreneur. So it's other than that, man, you got anything to say?
I mean, look forward to the next round. Come hang out, come chat with us, and let's talk about let's just talk about moto, man, all day.
Are we gonna jump on the PTTG clubhouse thing on Discord tomorrow during the race? Kind of have like a little unofficial couch cross, dude.
Oh, why not? Why not? Yeah, make it easier than tip tapping
Texting?
away for you can't really chat with your hands. So let's make it easy for you.
My wife calls me Mumble like a penguin because I got like my little flipper right now, dude. And like, like, thanks, wife. You're amazing. But it's yeah. Other than that, we'll catch y'all later. Hopefully the show wasn't too bad. You can always comment on it and come over to the website and let us know how bad it was, you know. But whatever gets you guys there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll catch you all next time. Don't forget Jesse's show Friday at noon, and jump on the Discord if you want to have kind of live chat with us during the races. Thanks, guys.